2 Esdras chapter 6, verse 19. And will begin to make an inquisition of them, what they be that have hurt unjustly with the unrighteousness, and when the affliction of Sion shall be fulfilled. Before I get on with this, I want to give all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and shalom to you, hopefully elect. And I was watching this video by Lisa Haven, and it's just funny because when it comes to Esau, which after watching this video, I'm convinced that she's very much so a Shedemite. All right, she's of the house of Esau. Because as I'm going to play in this clip, and well, let me just let it speak for itself. But nevertheless, because it's rather funny. But then it's not, because she's pretty much complaining. Because what does the scripture talk about? What does it say? Slakia. Oh man, it's on the tip of my tongue. But basically something along the lines of how they shall seek to please the poor. Let's see if I can find this real quick. Because specifically with Esau, because these other nations, they got to pay too, all right, for what they did. They had a hand in our downfall, all right, and touching the apple to the Lord's eye. But specifically with Esau, because he did a number on us. We haven't been in any harsher captivity. There has been no other harsher captivity. No one that's done us as cruelly as Esau, Edum. So specifically speaking to Esau, because you see they're on trial, and their history is coming, catching back up to them. The fact that they're basically on the run from the law, right, from justice, while their crimes are starting to catch back up to them, and the Lord is exposing them. They're on trial. And typically when a case goes to trial, man, that's when all the skeletons in the closet come out, so to say. That's when all the dirty details get revealed. And that's the case with Esau, Edom. All right. And you see, this is why, because hey, the cat is out the bag now at this point. And specifically with Esau, all right, because there's been in the talks about reparations given so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians, reparations, right? Because of the history, the hell that was put on our people. You see, that's why I'm gonna read this real quick in Job chapter 20, verse 10. It says, "His children shall seek to please the poor, and his hands shall restore their goods." So, because you see, again, Esau, he's on trial. All right. What's done in the dark has, in fact, come to the light. And more every day, Esau, he's getting exposed, because it's a lot sinister than just having Jake in slavery. It is much deeper and sinister. The things that they were doing. And that's I'm just talking about slavery. But nevertheless, man, again, their crimes are coming back to bite them in the ass, and it must be like that, some sort of guilty conscience, because hey, Esau, he's basically he's going to try to make up for what he did, and watching this video, which, like I said, it leads me to believe that Lisa Haven is in fact an Edomite, because The information that she's about to bring out is an example of what I just read here in Job 20:10. Again, it says, "His children shall seek to please the poor." Talking about the Israelites. All right. Esau was going to try to, make up for all the wrong that he's done. And it says, "In his hands shall restore their goods." So, with that being said, I'm gonna probably hold on to this because, like I said, it's rather funny. It's rather interesting. This information that's about to come out, and nevertheless, just pay attention to her reaction. And I have it fast forwarded, so because I want to play the whole video, Lord willing. It's roughly 13 minutes, so she's going to be speaking kind of fast because I got it fast forwarded. So nevertheless, without further ado.
A lot of our advertising business down and the whole nine yards. So please support us if you want us still on air at restrictedrepublic.com. All right, so let's dive into what's going on. And I want to start first with what's going on right now in New Zealand. And then I'm going to show you a form of it happening right here in the United States of America. Take a look. This is on breitbartnews.com. New Zealand Equity Adjuster Score asks surgeons to prioritize non-white patients. Now, this is a very recent article put out just June 19th. And it says surgeons in Auckland, New Zealand are expressing discomfort with a new policy that requires them to consider the ethnicity of their patients as a factor when scheduling surgeries. Health New Zealand, a national public health agency established in July 2022 to consolidate numerous regional health boards, introduced an equity adjuster score that sets 5 factors to be considered in surgery priority list. And here are the 5 factors. Okay, clinical priority, time already spent on wait list, if the patient lives in a geographically isolated area, economic deprivation, and ethnicity. The highest scores for ethnicity are given to Maori and Pacific Islander people. In other words, certain races are above other races. That is called technically racism, but it goes on. Of course, this is going to anger some of the doctors, as the New Zealand Herald reported on Sunday that some surgeons are upset by this policy, describing the equity adjuster score as medically indefensible and disgusting. Here's what one unnamed surgeon said, quote, "It's ethically challenging to treat anyone based on race. It's their medical condition that must establish the urgency of the treatment. There's no place for elitism in medicine, and the medical fraternity in this country is disturbed by these developments." And I say a big fat amen to that. But it closes with an example of something that has already happened. And here's what's going on with this program, right? The New Zealand Herald cited a leaked document outlining the equity adjuster that showed elderly Maori patients who had been waiting over a year for surgery, jumping ahead of a 36-year-old Middle Eastern patient who had been waiting almost 2 years. This would appear to contradict official promises that the ethics scores mostly be used as tiebreakers for patients whose situation are similar in some respects. Doesn't seem like it has anything to do with a tiebreaker.
So basically, what she was saying was, so-called minorities are getting priority over so-called whites, basically, or people of color getting priority over whites, so-called white people. I'm gonna read this real quick because basically Esau, he's starting to find out what it feels like to be a nigga. He's starting to find out what it feels like to be the last one hired, first one fired, right? Edum curses, right? Deuteronomy 30:7, "And the Lord thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee." So that's what's been going on, because I'll be out and about doing deliveries and stuff like that. Some of these app-based jobs, man, and you'd be surprised because I go to a lot of these fancy gated communities, and I'm talking, you would think millionaires live in these fancy homes, mansions. I'm talking about water fountains in their front lawn type stuff, man. And who do you think's living in them? Mostly Jake. You see? Because between second edges 6 and 9, man, Esau is the end of the world, Jacob is the beginning. And we're in that transitionary period where Esau, he's losing. So if Lisa Haven is in fact an Edomite or Shedemite, then hey, she should be upset. She should be disappointed because hey, this is our kingdom. But the fact that they're losing, the fact that they're falling, hey, I'd be upset too. But hey, it is what it is. And this is the program of Yahweh Shem Shai. They had their time to rule. They had their time to play. Well, now their time is up, or at least we're coming to that. We're coming to the end, to their end. All right, of the empire. So playing on.
People who have been waiting longer, should that not be considered? Instead, they're judging based off the color of your skin. Minorities get priority, white people get less. It's a sick freaking system. Now, if you don't think something like this is happening in the United States of America, it is at a level maybe not as open and forward as they're being right now.
It's crazy because brothers that visit us here and come to Orlando, and they get the fellowship and they get to see the environment in downtown Orlando. Now maybe it's just me, because I expect it to be pretty much the same everywhere. Some places are worse than others, some places are a little better, but maybe it's just me, being in the belly of the beast, so to say, being in the heart of Babylon, Florida, Orlando. Well, especially me, because I don't go out much. I don't really travel much, so I don't know what's out there. But maybe it's just me, because when brothers come down, that out of state and whatnot, and they see the environment, man, they're like, damn, they pretty much talk about how bad it is, But to me, I'm thinking this is the normal everywhere. Like I said, some places are worse off than others. Some places are better off, but it's crazy because, being in Orlando, man, especially when you go downtown, and just almost anywhere in general out here, man, you see more and more homeless Edomites. A lot of these tent cities and whatnot, throughout the area out here, man, is mostly Edomites. Like I said, you go to these a lot of these fancy neighborhoods, you would think, these suburban neighborhoods, you would think there's Esau living, but a lot of them be Jake. And hey, I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at Jake too. I ain't mad. Jake be sliding good too. So you see a lot of more and more of these Jakes living in these high-rise buildings, neighborhoods and whatnot, suburban areas and whatnot, and more you seeing Esau, homeless, losing, bugged out, fentanyl and everything, man. As I just read in Deuteronomy 37, the tables are turning, man. And hey, quite frankly, to Esau, hey, he's right where, the Lord is bringing him right where he belongs, on the bottom. Welcome home, caveman. He's right where he belongs.
Auckland, New Zealand. But take a look at this document that was published by the American Medical Association. And by the way, I've heard no one, absolutely no one, talking about this. Take a look here. And this is called Organized Strategic Plan to Embed Racial Justice and Advance Health Equity in 2021 through 2023. Here's some of the little tidbits inside of this. And this is the AMA right here in the United States. It says it is common that discussions in the field of equity begin with the recognition that our current state was built on the land and laborers of others in ways that violated the fundamental principles of equity. Another distinction of these equity fields, which essentially is an extension of this land and labor acknowledgement, is to initiate discussion with recognition of the specific harms of the past, including those of the more recent, truth and reconciliation. The logic, of course, is that the quest for equity requires reconciliation of past harms, but such reconciliation would be impossible without knowing the truth of the past in the clearest forms. But they go on to expand on some of those things, right? We acknowledge that we are living off the taken ancestral lands of indigenous peoples for thousands of years, and we also acknowledge...
So you see that? Because, again, she's bringing out this information about basically Esau is admitting that they stole the land from Jake. They've been prospering off of Jake's downfall. Right? And again, pretty much, going back to Job 20:10, his children shall seek to please the poor, and his hands shall restore their goods. Because again, that, maybe it's that, the spirit is putting that guilty conscience on Esau, because, hey, Esau probably getting plagued with dreams for what they did, right? And stuff like that. And now they're going to, now they're trying to make amends for the atrocities that they did. So they're trying to restore everything that was taken from us, stolen, right? And, she's bringing this information out. And by the way, I'm going to probably upload this on, just in case she so happens to see this and, this video gets flagged. More than likely going to upload this on either Bitchute or Odyssey. So the link will be in the description, Lord willing. But she's bringing this information out. Her reaction. Just, check this out, man.
The extraction of brilliance, energy, and life for labor force upon the African American descent for more than 400 years. I'm going to hit the pause button right there. What happened, unfortunately, to our brothers and sisters during the slavery days is heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking, but it's not something that we did in our generation. Thankfully, we had stuff happen that got rid of that.
So you see that? They always want to play the card. Well, you know, that was my father, my forefathers, you know. I didn't have nothing to do with that, right? But little do people know, your forefathers coming back and foremothers coming back, all right? You know? And nevertheless, hey, we're still suffering off of slavery, right? While you are still benefiting off of it. So you want to play the card that, oh, well, you know, that was my father, my forefathers. I had nothing to do with that. Well, hey, you are your forefathers and foremothers coming back. So going to this, Isaiah 14. Bring it out! Right? Isaiah 14 and 21. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers. Because again, you are your forefathers. We are our forefathers and foremothers coming back. Because the scriptures tell us that the Lord won't, put the iniquity of the child, or excuse me, of the father upon the child, right? Nevertheless, through 3 to 4 generations, that's when we typically come back. When we're brought back on earth, that's how we pay for the sins of our past lives, man. You know, so we are our forefathers and foremothers coming back. But it says again, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. So you see, prepare slaughter for his children, because you are your again, you are your forefathers and foremothers coming back. So using that whole argument, yeah, that was my forefather. I didn't have nothing to do with that. That wasn't me. Well, it was you. It was you. And like I said, nevertheless, you're still benefiting, right? While we're still suffering, right?
Eliminate that. And the sad truth is many countries have had slaves. And what about the Irish slaves here in the United States? What about the Japanese that we sent to the internment camps here in the United States of America? Not one word about that, right? And then the other thing that they talk about is the lands taken from indigenous people. Look, it's unfortunate what happened years and years and years ago, but it brought about one of the best countries in the entire globe, one of the most freest countries until now, by the way, in the entire globe that anyone has ever known. And it's an unfortunate side effect of...
So she's trying to justify the fact, because America did become so-called great based off of slavery. America did become great based off of our free slavery, our free labor. You see? So she's trying to justify the fact that America has become a great empire off of slavery. And she's correct on that. Well, you people got to pay for that. It's that simple. You people, you got to pay for it. You so-called you Edomites and the rest of you nations, y'all got to pay. Y'all got to pay, man. It's that simple.
War. We don't see Britain screaming, coming to America saying, hey, we still own you, Americans, you're ours, and doing something like that. There's just a lot of unfortunate things, but unfortunately that is the side effect of war. But we're supposed to go back and repent of our sins that we didn't commit, and then make it some kind of hierarchy. This is all about control and all about Marxist ideology. And here's just a little bit more. Dismantle white supremacy, racism, and other forms of exclusion and structured oppression, as well as embed racial justice and advance equity within and across all aspects of the health system. And my interpretation of that, and what they mean by that, is basically put certain colors above others, put minorities above others, because the injustices done to them in the past are atrocious. Therefore, we have to elevate in some way, shape, or form, and de-elevate. This is the entire concept of equity. In fact, they give you a definition of it, right? Equity as a process means providing the same amounts of types of resources across populations, seeking to treat everyone with the same, in other words, equality, right? Ignores the historical legacy of disinvestment and deprivation through historical policy and practices of marginalizing and minoritizing communities. It has generated unequal societies that trace back prior to the founding of the country. First of all, I don't see this as any kind of unequal society. I mean, we've had a black president of the United States, and somehow after that we are not being an equal society. It's just a bunch of BS. I just don't see it. But then they go on to talk about the harmful practices that AMA has committed over the years. And I want you to notice how far back they have to go. 1849, 1871, and then it comes all the way up to and stops at, well, the 1960s, 1946, 1960s. That's about their last crime. What they don't mention is, hey, if this was currently happening, then yeah, let's do something about it. But this isn't happening. I mean, it stops literally at the 1960s.
So yeah, man, that was pretty much the point, man. She's butthurt. She saw his butt hurt, but nevertheless, hey, You devils got to pay for what you did, man. Thus saith the Lord. I'm going to get this. I ain't intend on this being too long or long-winded or anything, man. But, hey, you devils got to pay. All right? We paid for our crimes against Yahweh Shemel Shai. Well, hey, you devils got to pay for your atrocities. All right? Double. So, Lamentation 4:21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked. Because you see, who wrote this, man? Salakia. I think this was Jeremiah. You know, if I'm not mistaken. Jeremiah wrote this. You know, when he was seeing this. You know, because again, while we were getting hauled off, right? Hey, Esau, they were right there, basically cheerleading. You know, talking shit, right? And Jeremiah was looking at them like, man, y'all gonna pay too. You know, you devils, right? Like y'all gonna get y'all's too. This type stuff, you know. It says the punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away in captivity. He will visit thine iniquity. O daughter of Edom, he will discover thy sins. So you see, and Esau, again, he knows that his you know, he has to pay for what he did. His crimes are catching up to him. All right. You know, all the injustices, the atrocities. The Lord is revealing his skirt. You see, and now they're trying to cover up and make amends and make things right. Right. You know, but hey, nevertheless, there's no amount of dollars that you can give, right, to make amends. You know, as I always say, hey, the true reparations, we want your neck, man. That's it. We want your neck, boy. That's it. We want those necks. You know, and there's plenty of scriptures talk about how, hey, what they did, they had to get it double. You know, touched on this a few days ago about how, hey, going into that 1,000 year period in Revelation 20, because you have two 1,000 year periods. Well, one of those 1,000 year periods is a reference to that first day in the kingdom, that first 1,000 years, that first day in the kingdom, because you know it's going to take 1,000 years to undo all the wickedness and pollution and, you know, all the wrong that Esau's done. Is going to take 1,000 years to undo it all, right? But nevertheless, 1,000 years, because again, Esau, they got to pay double. You know, they've had us in captivity roughly 500 years or so. Well, hey, they're going into slavery 1,000 years, man. You know, 1,000 years, man, of hardcore slavery, and after that, there's not going to be any use for Esau Edom, because the scriptures tell us how, hey, as long as there's one Edomite around, as long as there's one so-called white person around, the indignation of the Lord is always going to be there, because that's just how much the Lord hates these people. And yes, the Lord created people that He hates. The Lord created the people that He cannot stand. Believe it or not. All right. So as long as there's a so-called white person around, all right, who the world ignorantly calls God, His indignation is always going to be there. All right. But nevertheless, after 1,000 years of hardcore slavery, all right, and that's a part of the reparations, the real reparations that we want, because hey, their kingdom has been built off of our free labor. What, hey, our kingdom is going to be built off of their free labor, and that's justice. That's true justice, the true reparations. All right, they're going to be turning big rocks into little rocks, and they're going to be turning small rocks into smaller rocks. That's it. Small rocks into smaller rocks, man. That's just it. So get ready for slavery. You know, you devils, man. You pale face. You know, blood shone forth through your skin. No pigmentation, no flavor. Just, you know, profane. Just, you know, you people just get ready for slavery, man. Lord willing, this was edifying. Call Allah, Shalom.